Okay, so tonight I wanted to talk about building your base because I think that once you build your customer base and you build that core group of people you have, this whole thing gets way easier. And so I'm going to attempt to do the present mode. Sometimes it's hard because it like cuts off certain spots, but some of my words got kind of small and I want you to be able to read them. Oh, we have a visitor. Hi, Berkeley. And so I want to talk about building your base. And the base I'm talking about is like your customer base, right? Because I think the reason why this topic is important is because when you start building your people, it gets easier in the coming years, coming months, because they're on auto ships. Maybe that's a body auto ship. Maybe that's a energized auto ship. Maybe they try new programs when they come out. So every time there's a program launch, you get a little boost. Maybe that's their bod renewing a year from now. But it just makes it easier because you kind of get that continual steady income because you have that base of people. So that's why I kind of wanted to talk about it and some things that you can do to start adding to that base. First, I cannot believe it's October. We are in the last quarter of the year, right? So quarter four. And a few things we've got going on is that our Hocus Pocus group, it's actually called Freaky Fun Fitness, but it's like Hocus Pocus based, starts tomorrow. And if you're not in there, I think a lot of you guys are who's on this call. But if you're watching the recording or whatever and you're not in there, it's going to be really fun. We've been chatting, the coaches in that group today, and I'm excited. We've got DIY, we're doing some this or that, some trivia, some recipes, water, right? Like all sorts of fun stuff, plus like the challenge of the teams. And so Berkeley, he's being like extremely loud, so hopefully you can't hear him. We also have XB Sweat and Sculpt is coming out on Tuesday. So if you haven't done the sample, like I'm going to do the sample workout tomorrow morning. That's a sample workout you can send out. Just Google XB Sweat and Sculpt sample workout and it'll pop up. But that's a good example for that is a mixture of Let's Get Up and Bar Blend is what they are saying it is. Okay. Then we have a launch tomorrow, and it's actually mint chocolate chip beach bars. And here's something unique about that is I don't know if you've seen in the coach office, but they're actually discontinuing the chocolate cherry almond beach bar. I know that was mine. I'm like, that's my favorite, my current favorite. And so I'm kind of ticked off about it. And so they're discontinuing chocolate cherry almond beach bars and replacing them with the mint chocolate chip, which I'm like, literally that's my favorite. So annoyed by that, but it is what it is. You know, I know like some people don't like that one, so maybe it's their like least selling, I don't know. And then don't forget that there's $20 off the end of the year. And what I'm really leveraging is getting started on people's goals now instead of waiting further in the year, because to be honest, I'm not going to lie to you, like quarter four is the hardest because everyone starts getting into like everyone starts kind of feeling like the holiday pressure of like, oh my gosh, like the holidays are coming up and I'll start in January, you know. And really I'm trying to break that mindset of like, where would you be 3 months from now if you start today opposed to waiting till January? And then in November it's like, what if, like, where would you be in 60 days, you know, 30 days? We all know what 21 days can do. You look at like a lot of us started our journey with 21-day fix. Like where were we, not even physically, but mentally after 21-day fix? And think of like starting January 1 already in the zone and like going. And so I know it can be challenging. Quarter four, they say historically is like the hardest months, but it's a good time because people want to feel good with the holidays, right? You're seeing everyone, you're obviously eating a lot of different foods and stuff like that. And I think people like want to feel good. It's just they feel overwhelmed with a lot of stuff going on. So those are the announcements. I can't think of anything else right now. The chocolate caramel brownie comes out sometime in October, but I haven't seen an exact date for that yet. So here's a few tips. When I talk about building your base, I want to talk about from the beginning. So this is even before the things I'm going to talk about. Like I'm going to give you kind of like steps or different action items you can do. But some of the tips I have for you is like lead with your energy. High vibes, like your energy is 80% of the message, right? If you do sweat and sculpt and you are like, oh my God, this is like the best, like I love it. Like I think of Peyton Carter who tried Let's Get Up and she's like, oh my God, this is like way more fun than I ever thought it was. Like lead with that energy, like lead with the high vibes, with how you're feeling. Because honestly, I think that, yeah, losing weight is like something people look at and they see that. But I think what people really want is like the energy you have, and your excitement is going to transfer onto other people. You know that, like, that's how it works. Like, I get told all the time in teaching, like, like, wow, you have a lot of energy. And I think that's why, like people like you and your kids like you because like you're excited. So they're excited. So like think of that. Like if you're in your challenge groups and you're like leading with high energy and you're like excited to be there, so are those people. And so too on your social media. Another thing is repetition. So people have to see things over and over and over again before they're going to jump on, right? And an example is, right, we have people, you can all probably relate to this, that you have had people who have followed you for years. They've been watching you, and then it takes them like 2 years or 3 years to even sign up with you. Like I've had that people like have watched me from the beginning and then are finally like, what the heck are you doing? Okay, I think I'm ready. And the other thing is, like, quite frankly, like people don't always see your stuff. Like there are a lot of people who are not on social media the way we are. And so they don't see it, right? So like you talking about the Hocus Pocus group on your stories every single day, if someone watches you every single day, like if they don't want to see it, they'll slide through, no problem. But like for the one woman who like is just catching up on Instagram for the first time of the week, like she's not going to know you've talked about Hocus Pocus group or whatever group or challenge you're doing or program at all. And then my other thing is keep sharing, right? So for example, we have the XB sweat and sculpt launch going on. Like, don't just share it like, oh, I'm going to be doing this program. Here's what it's about. Here's this. I'm excited to start it. Today's day one. And then you just stop sharing, right? Keep sharing your entire journey throughout it, right? Show the different workouts you're doing. I really like, Jenna's the one who started doing this. She would take the workout calendars and screenshot them and then like check them off. I think that's a fun way to do it. I've been doing that. I also like some of you guys do the little like selfies on the calendar. I'm doing that this week or this month because I think it's fun to like see, and for people to see like, wow, like Whitney showed up and she worked out 29 days this month. Like how the heck, as a mom of two, how does she like get that many workouts in? Because I want to get that many workouts in, right? But like keep sharing and showing what you're doing, because they may not join like right at the start, but they will keep watching. I've had a lot of people who will fire and flow, for an example, right? Like I pushed that launch, or I should say push. I worked that launch very hard. Like I had a lot of time since I was off this summer and like worked it like crazy. And I would say like I probably got more people signed up with it after I was in like week 2 to 4 than I did before it started. Because then once people see you doing these things and see your results, see what the program's about, what you're sharing about, then they are ready to start because they want to see you do it first. So make sure you keep sharing every time. And it doesn't have to be a program. Like I've had a lot of people who have been like, and especially even my own challengers who have been like, what workout program are you doing lately? The XB Pilates. Because they're like, I think that's something I'd like. And I just need something, a little different than like lifting or cardio. And so you might even help people who are in your group who have fallen off the wagon, or someone else who just needs a change. So here are a few things you can do to grow your customer base. And maybe you've done some of these, and so you're like, this is no big deal. But I think we forget our ability that, right? We've talked about this before. I don't have to be your only source to do things, right? Like, so I think of free groups and challenges. I run them every few months. But to be honest, like in my busy seasons of life, it's really hard. Like fall is a hard time for me because like I have National FFA convention coming up, and then it's MEA break. And like right now, like I am just, honestly, guys, to be 100% honest, like I am just trying to get through every single school day of like getting my crap done. And so a lot of times I get home and I'm working on school, trying to get ready for the next day because I'm like always just like one step ahead of everything. And so don't wait for me to do these things, guys. Like, to be honest, where like team builder, team leader, like where all these things have came from is because I just took the leap and I did it. And I wasn't worried about, oh my God, what if it fails? Oh my God, what if no one shows up? What if it flops? Who cares? Because you're going to learn how to run free groups and you're going to learn how to run free challenges is by doing them. It doesn't matter. A lot of you guys have been in a lot of my groups. So at this point, you know how they're ran. You have stuff you can steal from old groups. Like, for example, I have an old Fall in Love with Yourself challenge that we did last year. And I think it was like a 7-day challenge. Like, I have no problem. I'll add you in there. You can steal all the graphics. You can take the posts. Doesn't matter to me, and make your own group. But don't forget, like when I first started, I probably ran a 5-day free group like every month, if not every other month, to start building that customer base, because it was easier for someone to say, yeah, I'll try your free group. And at the end say, so if you want more of this, here's your options, right? And then they're like, yeah, I do want more of this. And so then they signed up as a challenger. These are just some ideas you could do. And these are kind of obviously like more focused on fall, but you can do them at any point, right? Fall in Love with Yourself challenge. I did affirmations and stuff like that every day. A fall cleaning group, like I know Sarah G, I think, did decluttering in her challenge group, but you could easily run like a 10-day declutter challenge. And then that doesn't have to be fitness related at all, guys, but then it's so easy then to like turn back around and be like, if you loved the accountability of like this declutter challenge, it's kind of similar to the way I run my fitness accountability group. So if you're interested in improving your health and fitness and you liked this setup, I can get you hooked up. A Halloween challenge, right? Like the week of Halloween or whenever, you can run something fun. You just post like a sample workout each day, and then you maybe post a recipe, like fall recipe each day. And then maybe you have something fun about Halloween. Do you like pumpkin spice or apple cider? Do you prefer white pumpkins or orange pumpkins? Do you prefer the pumpkin patch or the apple orchard, right? Like super simple, guys. 3 posts a day, like no big deal, 5 days. And then that's that. I've done healthy for the holidays, which was all about like, it was more nutrition based on how do I help people make good choices during the holidays? Like what happens when you go to the potluck and there's like 87 desserts and you want to eat all the pie and all the chocolates, but then you feel like shit afterwards and you're like, I regret my life choices. Mindset makeover, that's actually the themed challenge group guide that Beachbody put out this month. So you'll see and be in Stronger Together. Those are the posts I'm using, guys. Use those accountability group guides. Steal 5 posts or 7 posts, 10 posts, 21 posts, however many days you want to do a challenge. And then I saw something fun that was Croctober. So I'm like, how fun would that be? Like, throw people in a group and share like crock pot recipes. Like super simple, but you're adding value. And then you can turn around and say, like, if this group was helpful, here's what I can offer you now. So those are just some ideas. I mean, I love to do themes just because I think it helps like with the different times a year, but you can do whatever you want. And a lot of mine are just structured the same way. It's just depending on what season it is, I try to incorporate different things. And again, they can be as long as you want. I found that sometimes if you get over like 5 to 7 days, people kind of start to drop off. But totally up to you. My second, so then, yeah, this was just kind of explaining this more, is like, pick something you love, right? If you're super into Halloween, if you're super into Christmas, super into decorating, super into like cleaning, I think of that like fall cleaning, right? Everyone's getting ready. So it's like, you could do a cleaning challenge every day of like, wash your bedding, wash your towels, wash your windows, like all the things that people like don't do as often as they probably should, or like, right? Like, clean out your pantry and your fridge and donate anything, donate what you're not going to use to the food pantry. Like anything you think you're good at, just pick that and go with it, right? You can do 5 days, 7 days, 21 days, whatever you want. I've done, I used to do like once a year, like a financial group that was like no spend days. And then we kind of shared like tips and tricks of things that we would do to like help financially, like Dave Ramsey tips or Every Dollar or different apps that save you money or shopping at Aldi, whatever. So whatever you like, pick that and run some sort of free challenge on it, because then you can build that base And I would say my conversion rate is definitely higher. Like if I invite someone to a free group and then to a challenge group, I probably have a better conversion rate than if I just invite them to a challenge group. So hopefully that makes sense. And maybe you have some ideas going in your head. The next thing is free resources. So I used to do this a lot more often too, and there's some good things you can get, like make a Canva PDF and send it out for like meals, right? Say like harvest meals, like I think of Sarah Landis, like she's probably making some meals and stuff like that for Jared to take in the tractor. Like, okay, so here, what farm wives want my meals PDF, or steal a recipe or a meal plan out of bod and email it out. Create a list like of 3 go-to crock pot meals, send them your way. Or I was going to show you guys the mompreneur VA. She has a free resource library, and every few months she drops like free resources to use on your email list or to send out. And her latest one were like Halloween recipes, and it's like a PDF of like 5 or 10 recipes for the fall. And the best thing you can do is like say like who wants a copy of this, and collect their email addresses, because we'll kind of get to that. But free resources are also a good way, because then if like people see like, oh, like this is what her meal plans look like, and then you talk about like, yeah, like this is what you have you have a library of thousands of recipes, right? Like if you like this recipe, like try it out, and if you like it, like there's thousands more where this came from, right? And then they're like, where's the 1,000 more, right? Workouts, you can send out sample workouts. That's always a good one to touch base with people. I always, for new programs, ask who wants a sample of the workout. You can also, there's a ton in the Boss Babes Mastermind. There's guys, I have done team calls on like resources and where to find things. So feel free to go back to that, because like they will all the time put PDFs of like full sample workouts, and when things are added, they can click on the link and go to the Vimeo thing. But that's a good way too for people to try it. And then suggestions. I see so many people posting like, what are their favorite fall outfits and where did they get them from? Where are their favorite places to buy fall decor? What's their must-have shopping list for like groceries, right? Like your staples grocery list. What's your cleaning schedule? Like anything that you could like do for suggestions. Like, I think of like Whitney running daycare, like as like people looking for daycare, what are things that they should look at in a daycare? Like, what are things and questions they should ask? Like people don't know these things, or like, Steph's going through that whole process right now of like figuring out like what you have to do to like be a daycare provider. Like, what are things you should ask as a daycare provider, or as someone like interviewing to have something. And so, any kind of suggestions you can make is super awesome too. Next up is an email list, and I will be the first person to admit that I'm bad at updating my email list, and I should do something like once a week for like free stuff. You can do free email lists on MailChimp, there's different things you can get like Constant Contact, Flowdesk, all these things. I'm interested to see Melanie Mitro said she was going to talk about what her email marketing system is that she uses. And I was also going to ask Marion Wagner, who is like kind of like probably the top of our team. But when you send the free stuff, right, like send them an email for it and keep their email for their mailing list, because then think like, okay, so when Sweat and Sculpt is coming out, you can send an email about it. Or if you find another good resource and you send it out, or the Beach Bars launch, you send an email about it, right? I used to do a monthly newsletter, and I thought that was actually pretty cool. I featured a challenger, I did a recipe, I talked about some different tips and tricks, and then usually had like things that were coming up. And so then I think that did really help me get more volume, get more traction, keep people in the loop. Yeah, there are people who are like me who are like, another email, bye. But sometimes I do look at them and utilize the list, right? So could you write a monthly newsletter? Could you send out a recipe once a week that you just simply take off Beachbody On Demand? How can you add value to people? It's maybe you send them, guys, a lot of times I would find the articles on Beachbody on demand blog that would be like how to like in not intuitively, but how to eat during the holidays, so that you like actually feel good. And it like gave you tips for like potlucks, like bring a veggie or bring a salad to the potluck. So, like at least you'll have that healthy option or healthy side. But utilize a list. And just like one little story here that really is like, this is why I should really work on my list, is that Marian Wagner, I don't know if you follow her on social media, like on Facebook, because she is like in our upline, whatever, but most people don't know who she is. That's fine. When she had her baby girl, like I don't know, a month or two ago, and she went to log into her Instagram to post pictures, and someone hacked her account and deleted it, and she had like 10,000 followers, and she's been building this account for like 8 years, and literally the entire thing got deleted, and so she had to literally start from zero. And she said like thankfully she had an email list because she could still contact all of her people and still like stay in the loop with everyone and update them what their new, what her new Instagram was and all of that. So it's just another way too to like get people in a different space and be able to send out like different content, because we're obviously not posting the same things we'd maybe send out in an email list. And then obviously we have the tried and true invite. So kind of like the 5-step process, I guess, of an invite. I'm not going to go too deep into this because you guys, like we've talked about invites a lot. There's team calls on invites. I'll probably do another specific team call on invites coming up. But right, like first connect with them, get to know them, ask them simple questions, learn about their life. And then like that third step I have, give them love and value, right? Like grow that trust. Like if they post something about like their garden or their canning and you're like, oh my gosh, did you know this about XYZ? Or if they're saying like, anyone have any good crockpot recipes, and you give them a recipe, like you're giving them value, and that's going to grow that trust. Next is invite them, reach out and ask, and then either you're going to close the deal or you're going to keep following up with them. And that follow up doesn't have to look like an invite every time. It could look like, how are you doing? Like, I know you were really stressed last time we talked. Like, is work getting better or is it getting worse? Like, what's going on? I found people, when you follow up in a way that's more so about their life, or you see like, say you see they got pregnant, or you see that they got engaged, or something, they lost a parent, right? Like Angie literally invited someone and she was just about ready to like sign up, and Angie followed up with her, and she's like, my dad just died. And like, right, like wild, but like, you see that, like say something like, if I saw that like Mackenzie's dad died, or one of your significant others, or whatever, something traumatic happened to you or something good happened to you, I'd message you and be excited, right? So like do that for those people too, because that just shows, I think that really makes you stand out on like how much you care about them, because you're talking to them about things that like mean a lot to them. Then number 5 is just keep showing up. So success comes to those who do not quit, right? Keep working hard, keep showing off, because those people need you. There are people, right? We're attracted to people for a certain reason, and God leads us to certain people for certain reasons. And so people need to know like what you're going through, what like your story is, because it's going to show them that it's possible for them, right? Like those of you who have kids can relate to people completely different than I can, because I don't have kids, right? So like me talking to a mom of 2 kids is going to be completely different than like Steph or Whitney or whoever talking to a mom of 2 kids, right? Because they live it every day. It's easy for me to be like, well, you just like get up early and you push play, like you just do it. And other people are like, no, that's not how it works. Like there's, like more to it. So I just encourage you. I think we have a really strong group of people who like just keep showing up, but like the more you show up, the more you do the vital behaviors, the more you build your base, the easier it gets. And then you don't feel as stressed about hitting certain quotas, or hitting so many success club points or whatever. And so I just encourage you to like keep showing up, because people will notice and be like, wow. And then, so this is where I wanted to just take a minute and in the chat, maybe brainstorm some ideas you had. Like I saw that Amanda dropped in the chat about the body group. Like feel free to drop some ideas if you thought of anything during this. like drop them in the comments. And then my other thought, guys, is like feel free to team up, right? Like I said, some of us like fall is our busiest season. For some of us, fall is like we're coming down off of our busy season. Maybe you have some time to run a free group. Maybe like two of you are really passionate about something and so you want to team up. Like there's nothing wrong like with doing stuff with each other, or trying to lessen the load, or right, like you don't always have to wait for like me to do something for you to do something. And so I just want to give you permission to do that. So if you guys have any thoughts, ideas, any brainstorming, we can kind of chat about it now, like in the chat, or you can unmute yourself, whatever you want to do. But I saw that the body monthly groups, yeah, they talked about on the wake up call. And there's a lot of good content in the now. Beachbody has probably, they've been doing them since January. So they just added like month 10 of themed stuff. So like if there's a theme, like you could literally go in there and pick a theme and run a 5-day group based on that theme, whatever you want. And that's going to have all the posts there. And they have like 30 posts. Do you think if you talk about like 3 posts a day, I mean, you could grab everything you need out of there. Boss Babes Mastermind Facebook page, also a super good one. That's where we got our Hocus Pocus group from. I'm trying to think like what else. There's a lot. I mean, you can get them off Etsy, usually for pretty cheap, like that cocktails and cookouts group I did earlier in the summer, like in July. I think that cost me $7 on Etsy, but everything was done. Just had to like upload it and schedule it. I'm trying to think what else. But yeah, you can get a lot of ideas in like Boss Babes, or like literally ask me like, have you ran this challenge before? Because a lot of times I try to put, we have a team Google Drive. I should like pin that link in the team page. Maybe it is. I don't know. I should write myself a link Google Drive, because I make like when I make graphics for like groups, I try to upload them into the Google Drive so that if someone else wanted to use them, they could. But there's a lot of resources out there. So if you're like, I need to run a free group because I need to get more traction, I just feel like everyone I invite is saying no or ghosting me. That's a really good way to do it. And I'm here to help you. Like if you need ideas, totally fine. But anyone have any ideas, thoughts? Like Christmas time is a good time to do like healthy. We did 12 days of fitness last time and that went pretty good. And we did like a little workout challenge. We'll probably do something like that. Like that I'll probably organize again. And then I'll probably do something like I'm thinking of doing a 5-day like gratitude challenge in November. That isn't necessarily going to be like workout based, but more of like a gratitude based group. Just like with different journal prompts and like ways to express gratitude, and different themes for that. But otherwise, like I know that was like building my customer base. Free groups were my bread and butter, because it's a lot easier for people to be willing to join something free than pay for something a lot of times. Not saying you don't have those people, but and you just keep advertising and you just talk about it a lot. They say you should talk about it like 7 to 14 days before you're going to start. You should kind of start talking about it. And I think like, I know to me, I'm like so bad. Like I really need like to make a marketing calendar every week where it's like, this is what I'm talking about today, because I will be like, oh crap, this is starting and I haven't really talked about it. So here we go, trying to like get as many people as possible last minute. Which doesn't always work. So if you guys think of any ideas, feel free to drop them. Like we can drop them in the where I posted the team call thing. We can talk about it in the August challenge, or August, I think it's still labeled August Team Cup group, whatever. But feel free to drop them, because someone might be like, oh my God, yeah, I want to do that. And then you talk like our Hocus Pocus group, there's 6, I think, of us coaches in there. So if we each take a day, there you go. And it's not like it's that much work to put, it's 21 days. So like each of us, besides me posting the sweaty selfies, each of us have to do 3 posts and that's it. And so it's like super simple, not high stress. But feel free to do that. So it is 8 o'clock. So I'm going to hop off so that you all can enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening. Thanks for hopping on. I hope that gave you some good ideas. If you need someone to brainstorm off of, have some questions, feel free to text me because I would love to help you. But I hope you all have a great Sunday, and I will next week I'll be here too. And then Shane, beet harvest keeps getting pushed back because a fun fact about beets is it has to be cold enough to harvest them, and right now it's too hot, and so he got pushed back till Wednesday. But once he's gone too, I can probably do some power hours and stuff in the evening, and some stuff, so look for that. But yeah, he won't start till 2 a.m. on Wednesday. And if you want to know anything about beets, let me know because they're cool. And so but have a good night, and I will see you guys later.